This video has been brought to you by Nier Reincarnation. Download today to take part in the crossover collaboration with Nier Automata, where you can receive rewards, free summons, and more. Within that of Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, we are reminded of a certain small aspect of Kingdom Hearts 3, and that is Verum Rex, the supposed game and world that Yozora apparently hails from. And with the translation of Yozora meaning night sky and Verum Rex translating to the true king or the king of truth, many connections are made to that of other projects that Nomura once upon a time was in charge of. Specifically, Final Fantasy Versus 13, which went on to become Final Fantasy 15. However, when we finally face Yozora in Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, the title of the cutscenes give us a different name. Instead of Verum Rex, it's Falsus Rex, which could be translated to the False King, or perhaps that Yozora, this Yozora, is the King of Fiction. Hey guys, it's HMK. Are you prepared to enter the dark secrets of Kingdom Hearts, Verum Rex, and the future of Phase 2? If so, let us prepare and explore the reasoning behind Yozora being the King of Fiction. Strap on in for the safety of hype, and let's dive directly into the darkness. Cycling back to the name and the meanings of Verum Rex and Falsus Rex, translating to True King and False King, or the King of Truth, and possibly the King of Fiction, which, by the way, would have been an insanely smart reference before the actual revelation that this world will be known as the world of fiction, possibly deals with several connections inside and outside of Kingdom Hearts, much like the world of fiction itself, in which Yozora, much like his counterpart of Inspiration, Noctis Lucius Kylum, is a king, in fact a true king, the one true king, at least within his universe. But then of course something happened to him, as stated by both himself and the Nameless Star, in which his appearance has been changed beyond all supposed recognition, despite Sora recognizing him as Yozora. So despite Yozora truly being that of a true king, his altered appearance gives the idea that he may be parading as the true king, but with a false appearance, a fake, the false king. That is just one way to look at it. Perhaps another way, a true way to look at this, is that Yozora is a king. Truly that, a king of fiction, the king of fiction. As thanks to Melody of Memory and Union Cross, we have come to know this world, Shibuya, as Quadratum, outside of reality, unreality, a world of fiction. And that Falsus Rex can loosely translate to that of the king of fiction, with Yozora being the king of that realm. But then that brings in the whole conundrum as to why Verum Rex was introduced as a name, as a title in the first place. Something of a clashing idea. Well, that is where we get into the dark and spicy stuff. Remember our introduction to Verum Rex, Yozora, and all of that? We saw this as we entered the world of Toy Box, the Disney world inspired by Toy Story. But what was peculiar about that world is that it echoed what we now know Kingdom Hearts to be in Phase 2 when dealing with two separate universes or worlds. That the world of Toy Box was split in two. One that was the true, real world, and one that was a fabricated false world, the world that Sora and his pals Woody, Buzz, and all of the Toy Story cast. It is here that Sora gains a glimpse into Verum Rex, the king of truth, the true king. But this glimpse of Verum Rex took place within that of a false world. It is only when out of that world, in what is disputed to be a real world or not just a variation of the final world, where Sora truly comes into contact with Yozora, but in an event that is described as Falsus Rex. So which is true? Which is false? Well, that is the idea. It is an anomaly, and we can get that idea from the notion of Nomura's work, in which we can obviously see that Verum Rex was indeed based on the original ideas of Final Fantasy Versus 13. And when you have that idea combined with the fact that it became Final Fantasy 15, but at the same time, original concepts found new life within Kingdom Hearts, that this whole idea is both real and fiction. Real in the sense that it became Final Fantasy 15, but not what it was originally intended to be as Versus 13, and real to the point that it is in Kingdom Hearts, as it is fiction as Versus 13 due to it not seeing the light of day as that project, It has found new life and is true to some degree in Kingdom Hearts as Verum Rex and Yozora. So not only would he be the king of a fictional world, thus being dubbed as the king of fiction, the Falsus Rex, he will also be known as the king of fiction due to the fact a project like this, an entity like himself, was able to survive the unknown and find new life in this form. With that notion even going along with the whole idea that Kingdom Hearts deals with certain survivors of an apocalypse, with Yozora surviving his own, escaping that cage, that confinement of the unknown. And when it comes to cages, dive back into the Nier franchise with the first mobile game in the series, Nier Reincarnation. Atone for your sins in this high-octane action command turn-based RPG that's free to download and free to play. Yoko Taro returns with composer Keiichi Okabe and producer Yosuke Saito to bring you another iconic tale about the Girl of Light, her mysterious guide Mama, and the strange entity known as the Dark Monster, all set within a place known as the Cage. Lose yourself in the command-based combat featuring multiple party members, and for those who aren't too versed in video games, there's an auto mode feature designed into the battle system. Since breaking over 600,000 pre-registrations, all players will receive gems to complete 15 summons for free, along with cool materials to enhance your characters. Download today to get in on the action and take part in the crossover collaboration with Nier Automata, where you can summon 2B, 9S, and A2 and receive a ton of rewards until September 7th. Click the link in the description box below to head on over to the Google Play Store or the App Store, and I will see you in the cage in Nier Reincarnation. And funny enough, there are many Kingdom Hearts fans that have pointed out that Verum Rex and Falsus Rex, when you take the first three and the last three lettering of both first words, we get the combination creating the word versus, which can I say is a very Nomura thing to do. But when it comes to the true meaning of Falsus Rex, and if it really means the king of fiction, in what way are we talking about fiction? Is it applied solely to the Kingdom Hearts series within its own lore, or is it derived from the history that lies outside of that of Kingdom Hearts? Is the truth within fiction, the feelings of it being real when it's not, when we look at the secret episode? The presence conveyed and presented to us felt like it was always meant this way, or that this was always the plan. Or maybe it's due to that of being a new beginning, as Yozora really made me believe that he was the main character in the moment, not Sora, as Sora was someone he was facing. And I really love echoing that idea, as I feel that Yozora will be the Sora of Phase 2, while Sora of course will still be there and the main character. But in that sense, is the idea of this truly limiting? Is Yozora truly the king of fiction due to where he came from, the world of fiction, or is he the king of fiction due to his existence? And when talking about the world of fiction, has it always truly been fiction, or has it become fiction due to another's influence? Possibly another timeline? We've messed around with this type of theory before, especially when it came to the One True Sky and the Mirror of Night theories. But when it comes to the possibility of the world being split, just like how we saw in Toy Story, in which Verum Rex was introduced, how far can a concept like that be taken? While we know that the Master of Masters was able to see the world of fiction from the past, he does have the eye that is able to see the future, as long as the Keyblade and Lucio is guiding the way. But is he truly looking into the future when seeing Quadratum, or has it always been there? Was it created as a temporal paradox, as he stated in back cover, by his own actions or an action of another? It is truly unknown if the worlds of reality and unreality run together in tandem, parallel to each other in real time. But perhaps this whole notion of Falsus Rex, the idea of kings, have to deal with the 7 crowns that are meant for the true 7 lights. Perhaps the Master of Masters has sight on each of those that are meant to have a crown, and that each crown is symbolic to a different nature, and that Yozora is meant to have the crown of fiction, being the king of fiction, but he was introduced as the Verum Rex, the true king, the king of truth, based on Noctis, the one true king. So would that make sense? Or perhaps we are looking at this all wrong, and that we've been looking at the wrong king, who was always meant to be king, but never was meant to be king. As in the world of Kingdom Hearts, making this boy a king would defeat the entire purpose of his character. However, we're no longer dealing with the world of reality, the world of Kingdom Hearts. we're dealing with fiction, in which this boy was never meant to be a king in his world, in his reality, but perhaps he was always meant to be the king of fiction in fiction. That boy is Sora, which would explain why Yozora's clothes is adorned with a Sora skull wearing a crown. And that is why he had to save Sora, because perhaps he is the mythical king of fiction. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Big thanks to Square Enix and Nier Reincarnation for sponsoring the video, and big thanks to my Patreon supporters for help making it happen. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to HMK while hitting that bell to know when my videos go live every week. Be sure to check out my Twitch, where I stream Kingdom Hearts games all the time. And if you want to support HMK, check out my Patreon info in the description box below. And remember, Twitch subs and YouTube members now gain lifetime membership in the HMK Discord. Alright guys, until the next video, this has been HMK, and I'll check you guys later.
So you haven't subscribed to HMK yet? Don't piss Xemnas off.